Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on how to build a hybrid cloud infrastructure with Elastic Metal. As you know, it's a webinar, so you guys will be mostly muted, but that doesn't mean we don't want to hear from you. Please don't hesitate to engage with us in the chat on your right hand corner. And don't hesitate as well to ask questions in the question tabs. And as you see during the webinar, we'll have few polls and maybe some, news and little things for you on the way. Now, enough from me. Let me let the stage to my colleague, Thomas. Thomas, take it away.
Thank you, Paola. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. We will be talking about hybrid cloud and all that means, all that it means. But first, let me introduce myself very quickly. I'm Thomas Gatignon. I am lead product marketing manager at Scaleway. I'm handling all the IaaS product at Scaleway. And with me today, I have Thierry Dupré. Hello, Thierry.
Hello, Thomas. Hello, everyone.
And Thierry, you're one of our customers, part of Webedia Group. And let's have a look at the topics for today. We will have a brief presentation of Scaleway for the people that would not know us already. Then we'll dive into public cloud, private cloud, and a hybrid cloud, what it means, and what are the benefits and problematics with each of it. Then we'll talk about Elastic Metal and why it's a good product to try and build a hybrid cloud infrastructure. Then we'll talk about Webedia with Thierry, with a testimony, and a bit of a look in the future for Elastic Metal and some good links if you want to know more about the discussion of today. At the end, we'll have questions and answers. So don't hesitate to put your questions in the question tab on the bottom right. It will allow us to answer all the questions at the end of the webinar. About Scaleway. Scaleway has been founded in 1999. Scaleway is a cloud of choice. We want to help developer businesses, startups to build and deploy on our infrastructure and help them create wonderful products. We've got 7 data centers in Europe, in France, in Amsterdam, and in Warsaw, and in Amsterdam, sorry. We try to get them the most ecological conscious as possible. And we've got customers from 160 countries. So we've got quite a history. History, which is in fact a mix of different entities that joined strengths together. The most known part of our history is online.net, which is a dedicated server provider and web hosting provider that has been on the market for 20 years with a well-known dedicated server product, which is called Dedibox, that many customers know. And now, after all those products and those companies, we've got 2 entities, Scaleway and Scaleway Data Center. Scaleway is the complete cloud ecosystem, including all the IaaS and PaaS. And Scaleway Data Center is our entity for co-location in our data centers. But as you can see, we really have the whole chain from the data centers to the infrastructure to the services that are really internal. In terms of ecosystem, as of today, we've got already a very wide ecosystem able to answer to most of the needs for all developers. From the IaaS with a compute product, including GPUs and bare metal products. And we've got all the PaaS services that you would like with managed Kubernetes, managed databases, all the network options that you need. And of course, because we are a cloud provider and it's important, we have all the developer tools that will allow you to deploy and create your infrastructure very easily. Before we continue, we will have a question in the poll section just to try to understand a bit who is in the audience today. So Paola, thank you very much. There's a question: are you already a customer of Scaleway or not at all? It will help us orient a bit what we will have in the questions. Now, the main topic of today: public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. You will find probably different definition of it. I will try to give you my definition and try to clarify a bit the advantages and cons of each, and why, as of today, it's difficult to make them work together in a hybrid cloud. The private cloud historically is based and by definition on dedicated infrastructure, either your own servers, but now more and more on rented servers, but dedicated servers. It involves generally longer deployment times that we can see on the public cloud, but generally with stable costs because of monthly commitment most of the time. You've got the maintenance to manage by yourself, so there's a bit of hardware maintenance to take care of, even though most of it is dedicated to your provider, but still there's more maintenance because of the main advantages of the private cloud is that you control your exactly what is on the server. You have the full choice of the software layer you want to have, what operating system you want, even Windows, which is hard to find on instances. You've got, you can put your own hypervisor of your choice. You have the maximum control on security of your infrastructure. Now, in terms of public cloud, it's another vision. The infrastructure is shared. So even though we've got different type of instances with dedicated resources, still it's a shared infrastructure, but it's completely handled by the provider. So you've got no maintenance. It's very fast in terms of deployment, and the costs are flexible. It's really meant for application where you have to scale easily and quickly your infrastructure. The control and security needs to be adapted depending on the stack that is used by the provider of the public cloud, and you can't have the full control of everything because per definition it's managed by the provider. But the good thing is that generally you have access to the total cloud ecosystem, which is not only the infrastructure, but also all the managed services you can find on top and that are really helpful nowadays to develop new applications. So a mix of both would be really great, depending on your application, depending on what you want to run. Sometimes you need a dedicated server or a private cloud, and sometimes you want to use the benefits of the public cloud. So having both would be great. A choice of infrastructure, you've got easy deployments, you control your cost because you adapt your infrastructure depending on what you want to do. You can limit your maintenance, of course, and you can customize the control and security depending on your application. Ideally, you would have also access to the same tools to control both the private cloud and the public cloud. This is as long as you can link the two easily and safely. And this is where most of the issue is that historically, private cloud providers and public cloud providers have a separation between the two. It's not the same tools. It's not sometimes the same console. It's not the same provider also most of the time because of historical reason, because it have evolved in a different way. So it's generally quite difficult to mix the two together. On the side, if we have an example, what is the main issue? It's two things: the communication between the two and the tools you will be using between the two. Here, an example of hybrid cloud, standard one, you've got your private cloud in its own specific private network, and you've got a public line in its own private network. And to make an hybrid cloud, you need to make both of them communicate and find the tools to do it. And you have to make sure that you can use the same tools for building your infrastructure between the two. And this is where it can be a bit complicated. And this is where Scaleway tried to find a solution. Before I continue, again, I would have another question for you in the question tabs is what type of cloud are you using today? Private, public, or a bit of both? Now, what is Elastic Metal and why it would help in building a hybrid cloud? We have different customers, and this is the root of it all. We have got some customers that just want a dedicated server. We've got a huge history in Dedibox with a lot of customers that just want a dedicated servers because it's what they like and that's what they want to use. But we also have customers that want a flexible IaaS infrastructure. A lot of customers joined us when we started our cloud ecosystem. But sometimes even those customers want a dedicated server. And also, we've got customers that just want to use the latest cloud technologies, whatever their infrastructure is. It could be on an instance, it could be on a dedicated server. They just want to use managed services because it's easier. So how to have it all in one single offer? And this is where we created Elastic Metal. We've got 3 pillars of Elastic Metal. The first one is dedicated performance. Elastic Metal are pure dedicated servers, pure bare metal. So it's 100% dedicated to one customer only. And you've got all the benefits of a dedicated server. High availability, high performance, and all that our history has learned us in terms of managing dedicated servers with a great support and the choice of OSs that you can push on your server. We propose by default a lot of options with Windows, Proxmox, VMware, but of course you can also install your own and control exactly what you have on your dedicated server. But we added something to it, which is more flexibility. By the past, dedicated servers were only proposed through monthly subscription or even annual subscription. And we wanted to provide it with more flexibility with hourly or monthly rate. So now you can test an Elastic server, an Elastic Metal server by the hour to do a test to see if it fits your need, to see the performance. And if everything is going right for you, you can take a monthly rate for having a better pricing on the long term. You've got no prior notice required. You can leave and take the server when you want. Fast delivery, as fast as we can. And also, you want to have the same benefits as dedicated servers is when you stay long on the servers, you need to be rewarded. And so the commitment fees to get to monthly rates is refunded after 12 months of loyalty on the server. The last one is the integration in our cloud ecosystem. We want to be integrated in our ecosystem. We want to have the same developer tools to manage Elastic Metal than all our other ecosystem. We want to have the same private network with a virtual private cloud that allows you to join Elastic Metal and compute instances and load balancers and whatever you want in the same private cloud. And flexible APIs that are able to work on both instances and Elastic Metal. We'll go quickly on that, but we have several ranges of product on Elastic Metal, from the aluminum range, which is really to have the best performance at an affordable price for all your test environment, web hosting, or game servers. We've got the Beryllium range, which is more for production applications, on which you can build your web infrastructure, your own virtualization, thanks to a lot of RAM, and all your production applications. We also have the Lithium range, which is dedicated to storage with huge local storage. And I think we will talk a bit more about that because it has been the choice of Webedia. And finally, the Titanium range, which is a very high-end product with extreme high-performance computing. And this is where having an hourly rate really shines, because you can have the best server on the market, but only for the moment you need it. Now, what would look an hybrid cloud with Elastic Metal? And this is the beauty of it. You can mix in the same private network your public cloud application on instances and your private cloud on dedicated servers. You can make your own virtualization, you can have Windows, and you can have instances all run on the same private network. And of course, you can add on top all the services we can provide in our cloud ecosystem with public gateways, load balancers, and even managed databases or whatever you would need. And all of this is managed by the same tools. You can use Terraform, for example, to build your infrastructure. You can use our command line interface if you want, our API. All is managed in the same way, easily. But let's have a real use case to discuss. Now is your time, Thierry.
Yay. Well, hello everyone. First, I'm Thierry Dupré. I work as a freelance system administrator mainly for Webedia. And I will present you our use case on a small platform which is called Eclablog. It's a French blogging platform. It's used by many school teachers, which are a huge part of our users. And it belongs to Webedia Group, which is a French company focused on content publishing. For example, jeuxvideo.com, Allociné, or Overblog. On a side note, Overblog is a Scaleway data center customer. And Eclablog is historically an online Dedibox customer. We work with Scaleway since almost 10 years, mainly because of the quality and price ratio of the hardware, and because of the quality of the support. We are technology enthusiasts, and the Scaleway support team is as enthusiastic as we are. Sorry for the French accent. So our software stack is quite classical. We use open source web hosting softwares. Debian as an operating system, the Asha proxy load balancer, which I am really fond of, Varnish Cache, Nginx, and PHP FPM on the front side. As a database, we use MariaDB, which needs no presentation. We use also Elasticsearch for content indexation. And for our storage, we use Riak, actually the 2.9 stable version from TI Tokyo. It was originally developed by basho.org. And our bloggers need a lot of storage. They need to store pictures, video, music, documents, PDF or Office documents. Thus, storage is really key for our business. We had the need to migrate our Riak cluster to newer machines with more storage because we were near hitting the limit. A small introduction about Riak. We use it as a simple key value store. Its API is quite similar to S3, for example. It's a distributed storage. The data is replicated between nodes based on a quorum. There's no master, so there is no single point of failure. That's why we use and like it a lot. We actually host around 76 terabytes of data, but it's constantly growing on around 5 to 10 terabytes a year. And we needed hardware with performance disks, memory for Riak's internal cache, we also needed a fast network and decent CPU performance, which is not the most important one, the most important factor. Sorry. And that's why we have chosen, with the help of Scaleway's team, an elastic metal server from the lithium range. It's the EM L110X SATA. We have an 8-thread CPU. We have 96 gigabytes of RAM, and that's really good. And 4 12 terabytes disks, which we use in a RAID 5 array instead of the default RAID 6 array, because we wanted to maximize disk space. This allows us to have around 31 terabytes of usable space per machine. We use 9 of them. ORIAC quorum is of 3. All the requests are distributed by Asha proxy to the 9 machines. And when ORIAC receives a request, he simply passes it in the ORIAC string. The first responder wins the race and puts the data in its cache, but the 2 others put the data in their cache too. Well, sorry for my lack of artistic talent, but our infrastructure before is quite classical. As you can see, our front servers run many workloads. This is something I will work later to separate the workloads between different machines. And before we used React 2.1, the last basho.org version for storage, and we used 12 DDBox servers. As you can see, we used only DDBox servers, and they communicated through the internal RPN solution, network solution, sorry.
Which is the private network of DDBox.
Yes. Nowadays, we still have DDBox machines, but we are in the process of migrating them starting next year. And we replaced our old DDBox storage servers with our new elastic metal lithium series. And now we use React 2.9. As you can see, the network has moved a bit because we use the public network and the RPN VPN. I will explain a little more about it later. We also plan, as I said, to migrate progressively our DDBox workloads to, sorry, I should not read the questions. No. Yeah, we want to progressively migrate all DDBox workloads to elastic metal solutions. We want to separate the various workload of our front roles in dedicated instances for the, notably for the reverse proxy cache workloads, and maybe the use capsule for stateless workload. But I think Thomas will have something about it.
Yep, absolutely.
Yes. Of course, we will migrate from IP failovers to flexible IPs. And of course, migrate our reference secure to a full private network instead of relying on the RPN VPN and public network for communication. What were the pros of migration? First, with elastic metal, we have predictable performance, like old school dedicated servers.
Which is really what most people want from dedicated servers.
Yes. We know that the CPU is fully ours. It's not shared, maybe with noisy neighbors. we are sure that there is no overcommit about memory or such, and the storage performance is predictable too, which in our case was quite important. The ease of deployment, because we can deploy easily new Elastic Metal instances, either through the web UI, or by using the command line interface tool SCW, or, which is a bit more fun, use infrastructure as code tools like Terraform to provision bare metal machines, which is really nice. This gives us flexibility because we can provision bare metal machines like we provision virtual machines. It's also nice for scalability because the ease of deployment and the flexibility allows us to provision or delete bare metal servers as needed. It's not really our use case, but it's something which seems quite interesting. And of course, money, because money is an important thing. So we are a small shop, but we are saved around 250 euros per month, which is not negligible, by migrating to Elastic Metal. There's not that much cons, really. The only drawback for us was the lack of a direct interconnection between Elastic Metal private network and the DDBox, old private network called RPN. We circumvented this little problem by using the RPN VPN solution. Well, it has some limitations. So we separated or react traffic between HTTP methods, thanks to HA proxy. Typically, GET methods are routed on the public interfaces of our Elastic Metal instances, and everything else is routed through the RPN VPN. So when a user posts content, it will go through the RPN VPN. But when a user wants to retrieve content, it will go through the public network. These small problems will be alleviated once we fully migrate to Elastic Metal. But right now, it works quite well for our needs. So in conclusion, migrating to Elastic Metal was easy. We pay less for more storage and better performance. As always, the Scaleway support team was top-notch. And we plan to progressively migrate our workloads to an hybrid setup between Elastic Metal, virtual machine, and maybe, I hope, not maybe, I hope we will use a capsule, because I'm a huge fan of Kubernetes. And in conclusion, I would like to thank the Scaleway team, and notably Thomas, Solène, and Paola for their support, their involvement, and the quality of their services. I would also like to thank the Webedia infrastructure team, and especially Mr. David Bordas, which is someone very interesting to work with someone, sorry for the mistake. And of course, to all the Overblog and Eclablog teams, because it's really fun to work with them. And to finish, thank you everyone, because you tolerated my awful French accent.
No, it was very good and very clear. Thank you so much, Thierry.
I did what
it was great. It was great, and I think it's an interesting use case. So you switch from DDBox dedicated servers to Elastic Metal. For now, it's only to use dedicated servers, but in the future, it's future-proof. You can now evolve to other services, use Kubernetes, and expand your infrastructure to what you want. So I think it's a very good example of what you can do if you have the good solution to mix your private and public infrastructure. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, you teased something about Capsule, about our managed Kubernetes, which is called Capsule at Scaleway. in fact, we've got many evolutions for Elastic Metal in the future. It's only the start. We plan to expand the Elastic Metal range of product. We've got new products incoming with NVMe storage. This is a request from many customers to have even faster storage. We will expand also geographically. We will open new regions and new ASIs in Paris, in Amsterdam, and later in Warsaw. There's one thing that we're working on really is a new installation system. We are rebuilding everything from scratch because we want to have Elastic Metal ready as fast as possible and with more customization, particularly in terms of partitioning, compared to what we provide right now. We want it to be even better than what we are doing right now. And we've got also some options we're working on to increase further the compatibility with our cloud ecosystem. We're working on block storage for Elastic Metal to be able to expand your storage easily, just like you do on instances. And we're working on Capsule. So Capsule is our managed Kubernetes that is running right now only on instances, but to run also on Elastic Metal servers. There's an option currently to use Cosmos, which is a Kubernetes multi-cloud. So you can use it already on Elastic Metal servers, but we want to have Capsule as well to be automatically selectable on Elastic Metal servers. And we've got some additional things we're working on for the future. A pack of servers with Hyper-V installed to have a real private cloud offering, which is something some customers requested. And also, we're working on a new user interface for Dedibox integrated in our cloud ecosystem console to be able to manage from the same console both Dedibox and your cloud ecosystem. It's already starting in beta testing with some customers, and we will expand more and more this access to all Dedibox customers. If you need more information about Elastic Metal, Scaleway, or general information, we've got the Elastic Metal website to learn more about the product, the features, what you can do with it, and the full list of product and pricing. We've got the documentation. If you want to get started, we've got some quick start documentation and a lot of tutorials on what you can do on Elastic Metal or all our other cloud products. And we've got the Scaleway blog if you want to learn more about how we do things, why we do it, and what is the philosophy of building cloud services at Scaleway. A lot of interesting articles on our blogs. Before going to the questions, we have a last poll for you, a question, which is, are you interested by Elastic Metal? Is it something that would be useful for you? And Paola will send the question in the poll. Now, we can have a look at the questions. We can order it by date. So that's the first question from Christian. I think it's for you, Thierry. Why are you using React and not Mini.io?
Well, we could also use Mini.io. It's a technology I personally like and use for other clients. But React was an historical choice. It works well. It is still maintained. The 3.0 version should be out. But I've not yet tested it, and I prefer to use stable versions. It's a good question, and we have no problems with React. It's a solution we use since almost 10 years too. So as long as it is maintained, and as long as it is evolved, we plan to rely on it for storage needs. But indeed, Mini I/O is an interesting technology. If the choice, if the technical choice, if I have to do a technical choice nowadays, I think I'll use Mini I/O because it's used by many persons around the world. But React does the job really well. It's stable. It's performant. So for your case, for our use case, we didn't feel the need to change it when we move it.
It's more philosophy of as long as it works, don't change it.
As long as it is maintained.
As long as it's maintained, don't change it. Perfect. Another question. Can you give us the overall price of the old Dedibox solution compared to the new Elastic one?
We were, as I said, we are a small shop, so the numbers are not huge. But we were around 1,500 euros per month. And nowadays we are around 1,100 euros per month. So we saved quite a bunch of money for our size.
Yeah, and also because you selected maybe a product that is more suited to your needs, you diminished also the number of servers overall. You went from 12 servers, now you're on 9.
Yes, that's something which we must account with. I see there's another question from Ludovic.
Which range of Dedibox servers were you using before migrating to Elastic Metal? I'm not sure, but maybe it was store products.
Yes, indeed. I don't recall the exact reference. That was store. Was it the store 2M to medium? If I recall correctly, there was 4 terabyte drives for around 11 terabytes user. For around 11 terabytes of usable data storage. We were quite happy with them, but we needed more storage in a more concentrated way. So instead of adding machines, we've chosen to completely replace the cluster with new machines. I hope that answers your question.
Do you think about integrating Elastic Metal with Kubernetes Cosmos from Scaleway? Cosmos is already managed, and I think I saw an answer from Guillaume in the chat. Cosmos can already be installed on Elastic Metal servers. You have to go through the KVM to install it. And as he said, we're also working on a better integration, but we don't have any specific date to say now. So basically, it's working with a bit of a tweak, and we're working to make it a smoother experience in the future, as well as working on a capsule for Elastic Metal. And this one is on. Okay. Another question: Elastic Metal product availability is often complicated at the moment. Will it improve in the next weeks? For example, the EM A410 is currently not available in the Paris 2 area. So we're working as much as we can to provide the servers you want. To be honest, it has been quite complicated in the last few months because of parts availability between other topics. So on A410, we are trying to work on another product because we will have difficulties to produce more of this specific server, but we're working on alternative options that would make sense for this kind of use cases. So basically, stay with us, and we'll try to give you more information in the near future about other options. Overall, I know that we've had on Elastic Metal some difficulties at launch, so in the beginning of the year, but now we have much more availability, except on some products, unfortunately, and A410 is one of them. Another question for you, Thierry, and possibly the last one. Why are you not using directly S3 Scaleway storage?
It's a good question. Mainly because we still like to have our own infrastructure. That's a nice question. We've not tested the S3 Scaleway offer, so I can't really talk about it. Let's say it's really because we really want to manage both performance, cost, and our own infrastructure. I'm not sure if I can talk about the S3 Scaleway storage, as we have not tested it, so I can't give impressions or such. I'm pretty sure it's quite performant, however, but maybe Thomas can elaborate a bit about this.
It's a great product. But no, I think the main idea here that you've been building your own storage cluster, and I think many customers prefer to manage by themselves their own storage cluster, even though there are solutions. Maybe this will be an improvement for the future if at some point you want to React is not maintained, for example. Maybe you will ask your question: do I keep my clusters, or do I try to use managed services? I think all evolutions are possible.
Indeed.
I got one last question from Alexandre. What brands of server are you using on Elastic Metal? We are not using one single brand of servers because we want to offer the best price, performance, and reliability. We work with many suppliers of servers and many parts suppliers as well. So sometimes we will use a big brand server because they've got a great product like Dell or HP or other providers, and sometimes we will adjust a little bit and build our own version to make sure that we can propose the best performance at the best price with, and I can't stress that enough, with a lot of reliability. We do a lot of internal testing to make sure the product will work for a long time. Okay, last question, Christophe. That's good because everybody asks additional question. That means that the interest is very good. Can we create a vSphere extended cluster between on-premise infrastructure to Elastic Metal? I would say probably, but I will make sure to ask some of our more expert people to make sure I give you a better answer on that, and we will send you the answer afterwards because I don't want to be wrong on that. So interesting question, but I will use my joker and ask our solution architect for an exact answer on this topic. And that's all. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending this webinar. I hope you found it interesting. Thank you very much, Thierry. It was very interesting. I think it's a great use case. You're using a lot of our services, so we're really happy to have you as a customer and a host today on the webinar. We've got one last thing to say is for all the customers that are not with Scaleway right now and they want to try us and test, we will give in the chat a voucher code of 100 euros to create an account and test our services. Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Paola. And that's all for me. Thank you all. Have a great day, and I hope we will see you soon in another webinar. Bye.
Thank you all. Have a great day.